The story opened with a flashback. A young girl named Kuroneko was peering into space through a telescope. Beside her stood a boy, quiet, thoughtful, watching the stars with her. It was through his eyes that the story unfolded. Kuroneko had been his childhood friend, and he often found himself lost in memories of the times they played together until the sun dipped below the horizon. They'd been teased endlessly for always being together, but that never stopped them. He had always liked Kuroneko, perhaps more than he realized back then. But her mind was elsewhere, obsessed with aliens. She insisted they existed, and even claimed she knew exactly where they were. When he asked her to show him, she hesitated, warning him that revealing them might get them both killed. Yet despite the danger, she agreed to take him so long as he promised never to tell anyone. And he did. She led him through a forest path, her steps steady, his heart pounding with questions. What happens next? He wondered. Still, he followed her. Eventually, they arrived at a river dam. Fear clawed at him as he prepared to cross. His foot slipped and he plummeted, the world spinning. It's now revealed that the boy's name is Ryouta, as Kuroneko screams his name and dives in after him. He woke up later in a hospital, his body wrapped in bandages. A nurse told him that Kuroneko was in the next room, but the truth unraveled slowly. Painfully, Kuroneko had died on impact. The news crushed him. He collapsed to his knees, unable to breathe through the weight of guilt. Years passed. Ryouta, now grown, found himself once again gazing through a telescope, just like they used to. He had dedicated his life to space, studying to become a NASA researcher. It was all for a promise he could barely remember, made to a friend whose name echoed like a ghost in his heart. After her death, he had scoured the river below the dam for any sign of her. He found nothing. The blame gnawed at him. "I killed someone," he would whisper in the dark. Yet despite the ache, he still longed to see her one more time. Now in class, Ryouta has become something of a local celebrity. He was congratulated for placing third in the world, but the praise didn't move him. It wasn't enough. Nothing ever was. Their teacher entered the room and told the students to settle down before introducing a new student, Kuroneko. Ryouta froze. She looked exactly like Kuroneko. His thoughts raced. Could it be? Is it really her? He stood, eyes locked on her, and said aloud, "You've been alive this whole time." But the girl simply blinked, confused. She didn't seem to recognize him at all. After what might have been a smack back into reality, likely from a bewildered classmate, Ryouta returned to his seat, his mind still spiraling. Kuroha quickly became the center of attention, surrounded by curious new classmates. Later that day, Ryouta made his way to the observatory, the weight of confusion pressing down on him. He tried to convince himself it was all a mistake. "She's already dead," he told himself. "She has to be." And then she appeared again, Kuroneko entering the observatory like it was the most natural thing in the world. Ryouta could only stare at her in disbelief. When he asked what she wanted, she simply replied that she came to look at the stars. He confirmed it was an observatory and that he was the only member of the club. Attempting to explain his earlier reaction, he told her she looked just like someone he'd lost a childhood friend who had died years ago. "If she's dead," Kuroha responded plainly, "then I'm not her." He told her about the promise he and Kuroneko had made, to find aliens. Kuroha, again, insisted she wasn't that girl. Ryouta, still grappling with his emotions, asked why she'd come to the observatory at all. But she dodged the question and instead asked about the constellations. Ryouta answers her, "But something is off. This girl has no idea what the times table is. In fact, she might be clueless about a lot of things, because she thinks the times table is a kind of food." She admitted she wasn't as smart as he was, but that she was definitely stronger than him. Ryouta laughed, skeptical. To test her claim, they arm wrestled, and to his utter humiliation, she completely overpowered him. Baffled, he examined her arm, trying to understand her unexpected strength. She grew flustered under his touch, mumbling that no one had touched her like that before. Ryouta turned red, too. The moment passed, and though he resumed inspecting her arm, the mystery of her strength remained unsolved. Eventually, she told him the real reason she'd come was to warn him not to miss the bus. Moments later, her phone rang. She answered, flustered again, then calmly told Ryouta he could miss the bus after all. He was confused. When he asked what would happen if he did miss it, she gave no answer, only urged him to stay the night. And so, he missed the bus. While thinking about how dumb he was for actually believing, the earth beneath him trembled, and he's caught in a mudslide. He tried to escape, but his body wouldn't move. Then, like a cruel joke from fate, he looked up to see a massive boulder crashing toward him. Just when he thought it was over, Kuroha appeared out of nowhere and smashed the boulder to pieces. In utter disbelief, Ryouta asked himself the only question that made sense. Who is this girl? Kuroha calmly told him she'd known the boulder would fall if he missed the bus. That was why she had come to warn him. But Ryouta wasn't just concerned about himself. What about the other passengers? Would they be all right? And more importantly, how could she possibly know the future? No one should be able to do that. Again he asked, "Who are you?" She told him she was a magician. Naturally, Ryouta was skeptical. Magic wasn't scientific, and even if it were real, how does someone become a magician? Her face turned somber. "Through operations and drugs," she said quietly. "I didn't want to wake up with these powers." But Ryouta wasn't even listening anymore. Somewhere inside, a small part of him still hoped, still believed that she might be Kuroneko. But maybe, just maybe, he was wrong. Like and subscribe for part 2.